I did.
It did.
They're so
Okay.
nice.
They are cool,
Oh,
right? See, I got my
yeah.
little badge right here too, and I wear it periodically. I have also from my networking group, I got the badge, says I'm the president. So I wear that
Fancy.
occasionally. I kind of switch off. This one's on here. Sometimes I'm meeting somebody and I'll stick it on, or if I know I'm going somewhere and I'm in the office, I'll take it with me. I have a few of them so that I've always got them around in case I need them. They come in handy. I don't know, they're $8, $9 each, whatever Fred says they are. So if you ever want more than one, just to have as a backup, they are some really pretty ones too. If you wanted like a custom one, I got Donna one. It's a little bigger and it's got like rhinestones all around it. Very fancy looking because she
Mm.
likes that. You know, she likes rhinestones and blingy looking stuff. All right. So any any input from last night's meeting? I'm going to be reaching out to just about everybody here because I think that a lot of people are shy. I don't know why, because we're not that kind of an office, but some people might feel a little weird, like approaching me and telling me like your life story. I don't need your life story, but I do want to be here to help all of you get to another level or to get to a level. Some people are not even at a level yet. So, in order to be a level 10, you got to start with level one and you have to actually work up to level one. Level one doesn't just come either. You have to do something. I always refer to going to the gym, and if you want to lift weights, you don't even know what weights you can lift yet, first of all. Secondly, to go to the gym, you got to wear gym clothes. You can't go there in a denim jacket and, you know, construction boots. You could, but you're not going to get the same workout. So you got to get a little bit of attire. I kind of relate that to being prepared by getting everything in place, learning how to do the multiple listing service and how to open a lockbox and how to send an offer, just the paperwork, a little bit of stuff like that. That's really before you can get to step one. I like to have everybody prepared for that. But really, none of that matters. None of it matters. Learning how to use the MLS, learning how to unlock lock boxes, putting in an offer, sending out agency, fair housing, and all that other stuff. None of that matters if you don't have any clients. If you have nobody to talk to and nobody to send paperwork to, what value is there in knowing how to fill out all the forms and, oh, I know how to put an offer in, I know how to unlock a lockbox? Yes, that's all extremely important. At some point, we got to know how to do all that stuff. But if you don't have any clients, then filling out a form is useless. If you don't have any clients, you can know
It's
how to,
irrelevant.
yeah, you can know how to unlock every lockbox in the entire Westchester County. If you don't have any clients to show it to, it's really useless, pointless. So, number one, to get to step one, and I'm not just saying this to the people that are here, this is just across the board. Step one is we have to communicate with a lot of people, everybody we know, meet people. That's why we have this cute little badge. This isn't so when I look in the mirror, I remember who I am. That's not what it's for. It's when I'm sitting at my kitchen table, Donna knows who I am. I don't need to be wearing this. This is out. It's a conversation starter. That's why the big blingy one, that's the reason for the big blingy one. It's not necessarily because I need a big blingy thing. It's the fact that it is a potential conversation starter. Just like your laptop. Anna, you got the same thing on your laptop. When you flip it open, on the back, it says, I'm a realtor, ask me a question or something like that. I don't know what it says, but it says, ask me something, I'm a realtor, or talk to me about houses, whatever it is. It's not the end all cure all. It's a conversation starter because that's the whole idea. You want somebody to start a conversation with you or even just to be curious about what you're doing so that you can engage somebody in a conversation. And usually everybody knows a couple of things. Everybody knows a realtor. Did you notice that in life? You meet people like, oh, I know a realtor. My sister's a realtor. My brother's a realtor. My cousin's a realtor. My mom's best friend's a realtor. Whatever. Everybody knows a realtor. They don't always use them. I actually sold a house to a young nurse right here in Tarrytown years ago. Her future mother-in-law was a realtor. And she said, she's going to be mad at me, but I don't care. I want to make my own decision on the house I buy. And if she's my realtor, she's going to be picking and choosing for me. So I don't want to use her. Isn't that weird?
Yes.
It's weird, but I made the sale and I sold her a house. Versus thinking like, oh, I'm not going to waste my time. Her mom's a realtor. She's not going to be bothered with me. There are exceptions where people say, you know what? I don't want to deal with this person. They know too much about me. I don't want them to know too much about me. I'm going to work with somebody else. So don't be discouraged if somebody is related to a realtor. Step two, if you want to just jump the line, you could do what lots of agents have done over the years. I know one of our agents here has signed up with realtor.com, correct? Realtor.com. And came in this morning and said, got a new client from, where'd you get him? Realtor.com. So, and it's relatively affordable. And when it's relatively affordable, it's no big deal. If you're paying $200 or $300 a month and nothing manifests, not the end of the world. Spending $2,000 almost a month and nothing's happening, you're out $6,000. If I'm spending $6,000, I better get something back. I don't care what it is. If somebody was interested in jumping the line, the reason I say jumping the line is because some of the agents that used Zillow knew what to do anyway. They use Zillow as a supplement. If you're using realtor.com as a supplement, that's good. What does that mean? That means I'm still going to search for people the old fashioned way, because at some point, but if it stopped bringing in leads, what are you supposed to do? Just shut your business down? You got to know how to organically create new clients. So part of that is the constant reaching out and talking to people constantly. You have to use that CRM and make sure that you stay in touch with people on a regular. It's also important that if you're not using the CRM, you got to have some sort of system in place. I don't care if it's a notebook. That's important too. 10 is a great number. 10 is a very doable number. 10, 12 is very doable. That's one a month.
I want to do what Ali was suggesting, like to do a spreadsheet and like kind of track your sales for the year.
Yeah.
Because he was like, oh, when I just started this new year and it's blank. So I know that I have to fill it up. So I'm going to maybe try that.
Yeah. I mean, we have these blanks. These are really cool. I got them on Canva, and it's a sales growth chart. And here's some ideas that you can fill out and put in whatever you want on here. You can put in how many calls I'm going to make and how many times you successfully do that. There are so many different charts and different graphs, and you can keep score with whatever it is that you want to keep score on. If you want to see how many clients that I actually talk to, and you can't cheat because you're cheating you, not me. So if you're going to commit yourself, and you can make as many of these as you want. If you want a bunch of these, you can either do it on a spreadsheet. You could do it on here. It's kind of permanent. Fred will make you as many as you want. You want to make one just for phone calls and say, I need to make, each one of these houses that you shade in represents making 5 phone calls. And so you can actually look at the end of the week and say, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. That's the point of keeping track of everything. You want to do 1 transaction per month. That's 12 transactions. That's really great. That means every single month you're getting a paycheck, whether it's a rental, and the rental paychecks are still pretty decent, or it's a closing, right? So if you did 1 a month, that's $120,000 worth of real estate transactions, bare minimum. You've got to talk to an awful lot of people. You have to be on this job all the time. When you're not doing anything with a client, you need to be on the phone. Go look at any top producer on YouTube. And what's the first thing they tell you? They spend from 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock that's full-time agents. Every day, 9 to 12, they're on the phones. They don't do anything else. Sorry, you want to go to breakfast? It's 10 o'clock. No, sorry, I'm busy making my phone calls. Oh, you want to go to the beach tomorrow? I didn't get to my one client per month yet. So no, I'm not going tomorrow.
I feel like one client per month is doable.
It is one client per month.
Yeah,
If you're an active client, yes. If you're adding a listing a month, that is 100% doable, because you're always going to have 2 or 3 listings at any given time. If you did, because you're taking a listing, if you sold it immediately, you're still going to have that as inventory for 2 more months. So every 3 months, you're closing on something, but you're adding a new one. Closing on something, adding a new one. Closing on something, adding a
oh
new
my God,
one.
that sounds so beautiful.
Great, right? Make that decision that I'm going to do whatever it takes to make stuff happen. So you also can't stay in one area too long. What do I mean by that? Well, you can't only social media post. If you only social media post, then you are generating an audience, but that audience isn't seeing you actually do anything. So social media is a part of entertainment, but it also has to show some closings. So if you don't have a just closed, under contract, just rented, or I just listed, if you don't have any of those, you got to do some social media. You have to. You got to do a lot of phone calls. But there's so many things you could do. You just have to decide that I'm going to pick 1 or 2 different avenues and I'm going to commit to doing them. That's it. And then keep score. So you know you're not cheating you. We discussed last night going to the gym, right? You go to the gym, you can't just walk in the door and say, okay, made it, turn around and walk out. You have to decide, if you're not getting where you're at, did I put enough hours in, or enough minutes or time or days at doing the exercise I need to do? Did I put enough time in? So if I didn't put enough time in and I'm not getting the results, what does that say? What does that say? I'm not getting results, Jenny. Go to the gym. I'm not getting results. There's 2 things that says to me. You're going to the gym every morning and you're not getting any good results. The weight's the same. You look exactly the same. What does that tell you?
You gotta switch up your workout, or you're
One,
eating too much.
or your diet. Right.
Yeah.
That's it. I got to start monitoring what I'm putting in my mouth.
Mhm.
Every single thing. I got to see what goes in, and what's the best way to do that. Geniuses at Weight Watchers, they're the ones that came up with a diary. Every single thing. It's got points attached to it. It's not even so much the points. It's the fact that you're writing down, you're making yourself conscious of every last thing that you put in your mouth. And the other thing is, people have apps today when they go to the gym, and they could see how much time, how many steps you walked and whatever. And if you're not making progress, my boot camp trainer told me many, many years ago, he said, you cannot out train a bad diet. You could work out all day and all night, spend days in the gym. If you're eating chocolates and junk and McDonald's, you're not going to lose any weight. It's never going to change, because you're defeating the purpose. You can eat one donut. One donut is an entire day's worth of calories. You can't eat anything else the whole rest of the day if you have one donut. And yet there are folks out there, and they go to the gym, they work out, I don't understand, nothing changes for me. It's like, well, keep track. What did you put in your mouth? Oh yeah, I had dessert every single night. I didn't go to the gym 3 times. And when I did go, I kind of just laid around there. I dabbled. Well, let's bring that back to the real estate world. Yeah, I worked in, oh, Joe, I worked so hard this week in real estate. And what'd you actually do? Well, I sat at my desk and I organized all my papers, and I've learned how to do all the forms that I needed to do. Well, if you have no clients, then we know what happened because you kept track. And what'd you do with your time? How many of those little houses did you shade in to see if you're where you're supposed to be? Did you shade any of those in? Well, every time I make 5 phone calls, keep track. You also can track it on your CRM. There's all different ways to keep track of the things you're doing. Once you decide what it is that you want to do for yourself, keep track, right? And I urge you to stay on top of this because it's easy not to. Coming from a guy who's going to be 63 years old in 2 months, 2 months and one day, actually, I'm going to be 63. Coming from that guy, knowing how easy it is to wake up in your 60s and go, you know what, man, those weights look so heavy. I might just go upstairs and have a big old bagel with cream cheese with some lox on it and a big cup of coffee with sugar and milk and all that other good stuff. Doesn't that sound great, Jenny?
Wait, what did you ask me? I'm sorry.
I said you could look at the weights and say, man, those things look really heavy. And say, instead of me touching the weights, I'm going to go back into my kitchen and I'm going to have a bagel with cream cheese with some lox spread on it and maybe 2 bagels and a big old cup of coffee with lots of milk in it, maybe some sugar. It's easy to do that.
Right.
It's so easy to say, you know what, I made a phone call already. I don't really feel like it. Trust me, at 63 years old, I don't wake up every, going to be 63. At 62 years old, I don't wake up automatically and go, oh, I'm going to run into the gym and start lifting stuff. Some days it hurts to walk down the stairs. But once I start,
I
I
feel.
feel better. Once I'm done, I feel good. I feel energized when I'm finished, and I could check off and go, I accomplished a goal today. So making the phone calls, reaching out to people, whatever it is that you want to do, what you've decided you're going to do for your real estate career, just try and stick to it. Keep track of everything you're doing. Put it on some sort of a goal thermometer, any kind of spreadsheet, whatever is good for you. I'm a visual guy, and even though I have a lot of technology, I still have that schedule stuck to my wall on a pin cushion. If you've ever seen me when we do a Zoom meeting from my house, you can see right behind me at home. I'm a very visual guy. I got one here for my desk planner, but I've had one of these on a wall behind my head in my office for 20 something years since the first one I ever bought from Staples. And I staple it's the same 2 holes in the wall. I unscrew it very gently, put the new one on. And even though I take that calendar and I transfer it onto my Google Calendar, the fact that this thing's hanging in my house, Mrs. Barada can walk in and go, oh, he's not available. So if somebody says, do you want to go to dinner on Tuesday night? My wife can just say, hold on a second. She walks into the office and he goes, no, sorry, Joe's busy Tuesday night. That's one of the reasons why I have that on the wall so everybody can see what I'm doing. It's a good idea to do that if you live with somebody else to say, here's the hours that I am going to do real estate stuff. So when somebody says, hey, honey, should we go to the movies tonight? And you go, sorry, I can't do it tonight. Got to do this other stuff. Make sure, if you've read my book, make sure that you do put time aside for your significant other, because if you don't, you'll be doing this by yourself. I've also met lots and lots of people that are extremely wealthy, financially successful, but they're not with the same family that they started out with because they neglected their family. That's the point of this book, Balancing Act, is make sure you spend time so that you can say, as I'm going to say, on the day after Valentine's Day is the 40th anniversary of the day I met Mrs. Barada, who was Donna Hansel at the time, and 40 years. And I did that because I make sure that there's time for her, besides the fact that I work all the time. If you ask her, she says he works all the time. But if you did ask her separately and said, doesn't he ever make time for you? She's going to go, all the time. I always make time for her. I don't sit there and go, oh, bing, time's up, honey, but gotta go by. I try and spend as much time with her as possible so that she's still going to like me, because I don't see the value of having $30 million in the bank and I'm alone. Yeah, I don't see the value in that personally. Some people might say, I don't really care. I'll do it alone. If she doesn't want to come with me, she can stay behind. That's okay. I'm not judging anybody. You just you do you. I'm doing me, you do you. I'm just making a few suggestions from an old guy that when I was a young guy, I didn't listen to anybody at all. Any older person, I was just like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Old guy, leave me alone, especially my dad. And it turns out that years later, years and years later, my dad's gone since 2013. So many things have happened in my life now that I'm in my 60s. And I go, you know what? Son of a gun, that guy was right. And I say that at least once a week. That's something my dad told me many years ago. And I'm just like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He was 100% right. So many things. So many things. So anyway, that's just giving advice from an old guy to young people, from not just an old age guy. I'm talking about a guy that's been doing real estate for 25 years, coming from that guy, somebody who's been self-employed for just a few months short of 40 years self-employed, coming from that guy. Take it from that guy that's been around and has had to raise a family. I'm not trying to put a word behind my head, but I also did stuff that most other people didn't do. I was able to keep in this world, in New York, as expensive as it is, I was able to keep my wife home for 16 years while my kids were young. Didn't have a job. Stayed home with the kids for 16 years. While everybody else, they had two salaries and they were running around and living in these gigantic homes. But you know what? Most of them, I only have, of all the people I ever knew, I only have two couples that are still the same. I'm friends with lots of people, but of all those people, there's only two couples of everybody I know besides me and Donna that are still together. They all had big giant mansions and all huge stuff, and they were super successful. And where my wife was driving around in a 5-year-old minivan, and they were driving around in big old Mercedes minivans, and they all kind of expensive vehicles. We were struggling to get by, but it made a difference in my life, made a difference in the life of my children and my wife. So just as a old man giving some advice, cheap advice, keep track of your time, keep track of the things that
Like,
you're
whoa.
doing. Yeah, I'm ready to kill myself now, right? There's no help for me. Yeah. But you know what? If you become a successful person, at least you can enjoy some of this life now, right? You can enjoy some of this life now. You don't know what is down the road for you or where you're going to be or how things are going to happen for you. Everybody's got their own interesting story. But where you are right now, even the fact that you're here and anybody that's going to listen to this program when it goes onto YouTube, you're here for a reason. You're here to hear this and you're here at this time for whatever purpose you're here to serve on this earth. So figure it out. Make a list. Write it down. How many transactions do I want to do? How much do I want to earn this year? What would be a great number for you to earn this year? Don't have to do anything. And I know all I have to do is after 25 years or 40 years in business, I can pick up the phone, call a bunch of people, and I know by the end of the week I would have a listing or a buyer almost immediately by the end of the week. That's just because I know lots of people. So how do you make yourself learn to create this huge following of people that know, like, and trust you? When they know, like, and trust you, they call up and they go, oh, you know what? I don't know anybody, but I know somebody at work that wants to buy a house, somebody at work that wants to sell her house. I just met somebody. I was having a conversation in the deli the other day, and this lady, I know her, I see her all the time. Oh, could you do me a favor? I'll drop off some cards to you. The next time you see that lady, could you give her my card? That would be great. I would be so grateful if you could do that for me, or any way that you can introduce me to them. Can you make the connection for me? Can you just tell them I'm going to call them? One of my students that just finished the real estate class, she ended up, she didn't take the state exam, and she said she was sick from the day the class finished. She had pneumonia. She got good for like less than a week and then had pneumonia all through the holidays. So she said, I'm not even ready to take the state exam yet. But she said, my friend Michelle is looking to sell her house, and I told her to call you. Great. This was just yesterday. So I said, great. Give me Michelle's information. Do you want me to call her or her to call you? Her to call me. Tell me how you want to do this. She didn't get back to me yet. That's just from being in places, making yourself feel trustworthy. If you can make yourself feel trustworthy to people, they will know, like, and trust you, and they'll recommend you. Got it?
Right.
Does that make sense? Get people, build a
Yes.
relationship, and they have to know that you're in the real estate business. They have to know that you're doing something. Again, if they go to your social media site and say, oh, just girl gave me her card, and I go to her website, or social media something, and there's nothing there except for one post, I have two options. One is she's a new agent, let me give her a shot, or she's a new agent, I think I want to go with somebody who's got a little bit more experience. So it could go either of those two directions, and most likely it's going to go, unless it's somebody that your family recommended or somebody recommended you, it's most likely going to go in the direction of, I think I'm going to go with somebody with a little bit more experience. I'm a good talker. Am I a good talker? I'm a good talker.
Because
So
it's all about relationships. You have
yeah,
to
if
build the
I have a
relationship.
conversation, I guarantee you, Vicky has been to so many and has had so many conversations that if she went to a listing appointment and one of the other people here in the office that isn't so experienced, don't even know each other, if the two of you went there and there was no relationship, the person selling their house or the client would say, I pick her every time, because you have to exude confidence, experience, so people know, like, and trust you, right? The only way to do that is to continuously talk to people, so you get more and more and more comfortable talking to people, showing properties, introducing yourself. You get to the point where, like I said, for me, everywhere I go, that's the real estate guy. That's the guy. He's a broker. He owns an office. He's got a whole bunch of agents over there. He teaches at the Westchester community. Everybody knows. It just comes out of me. Comes like it comes out of my pores, right? No matter what, it's going to come out at some point. Unless I get a really bad vibe from somebody, it's going to come out. And so that's the difference. If you're going to win a listing, win a client, you got to have some sort of built up ability to communicate. 12:59. I just spoke for an entire hour, and we learned anything today? That's that. Any comments? Anything? You guys want one of these? Just tell Fred, can you make me laminate for me a couple of growth charts with the little houses on it,
Okay. Well,
and I'll have Fred laminate a few for you. And like I said, think of the things that you want to do. Don't do because what I'm telling you. Think of the things that you want to do. I want to make a certain amount of phone calls. I want to take a certain amount of listings. I want to have a certain amount of rentals, a certain amount of sales, a certain amount of communicating with people. I want to have X whatever, and write them on one of these things. Just write it on there. Use a Sharpie, or just write it on first, maybe with a piece of sticky on there in case you change your mind. But once you do, or if you change your mind, big deal, throw it in the garbage and get a new one. Don't be so worried about like, oh my God, I ruined it. Say, Fred, I need another one. And he'll make you a new one. When you get a chance, you should go check out this book, Balancing Act. It's available on Amazon. Just Google Balancing Act, Joseph Barata, and it'll come right up. It's available on Kindle. It's available in paperback. Get it, read it. It's not just for real estate people. It's for anyone that's in business wanting to function in their business and enjoy life. Get it, read it. Let me know what you think. Thank you.